What does Jasmy and Janction actually solve? Well, it's numerous things, but one thing that really grabbed my attention was basically, for example, Japan is X's second biggest market, somewhere between 65 and 73 million users. And it's also one of the toughest places for X when it comes to data privacy. The country's APPI law is extremely strict. For one, you need clear user consent for everything. You're only allowed to collect the bare minimum of data, and if you mess up, you can get hit with fines up to 100 million yen. That's basically $640 million American. Or even get parts of your service blocked. Nobody wants that. On top of that, Japan's ties to a lot of services, basically to the My Number card system. So in essence, any platform handling Japanese user data basically has to play by those rules or get into some serious trouble. In a nutshell, this is where Jasmy and even Janction come in as a pretty elegant fix. You have to keep in mind that Jasmy's main product is something called, as we know, a personal data locker, PDL. And you need to think of it as a personal vault that lives on your phone or device. All your data, posts you make, likes, browsing habits, or even IoT stuff gets encrypted and stored there. And only you hold the keys. If X or any other app wants to use that data for ads, recommendations, or anything else, it has to ask you first. And you decide exactly what gets shared and for how long. You can even get paid in Jasmy tokens when companies use your data. And what's the best part? Nothing ever sits on X's central servers in raw form, so there's no giant honeypot for hackers or regulators to worry about. Jasmy already plugged the PDL straight into Japan's My Number system, so your real identity can be verified without ever exposing the actual My Number to the app. That is crucial. That alone checks a huge box for APPI compliance. Then there's Janction, which is basically a layer 2 network built on top of Jasmy. It's designed for heavy AI workloads. Think of it like this: training or running the recommendation algorithms that power your For You feed. Instead of sending Japanese user data to some cloud in the United States or wherever, the heavy computation can happen in a decentralized, verifiable way on Janction. Every step gets recorded on chain, so regulators can audit it if they want. But the raw data, that never leaves the user's control. It also uses something called KYM, and that stands for Know Your Machine, to make sure the device doing the computation is legit and hasn't been tampered with. Put the two together and you get a setup where, for one, Japanese users actually own and control their own social media data for the first time. X can still run personalized ads and powerful AI features. Everything stays APPI compliant because consent is granular and provable. Cross-border data transfer, headaches pretty much disappear. And the whole thing already has government blessings. Jasmy's been working with Panasonic, local governments, and even got featured by Japan's digital agency for My Number integration. In short, Jasmy plus Janction could let X keep or even grow its massive Japanese user base without constantly looking over its shoulder for the next privacy scandal or regulator knock on the door. That's major. In this outline, I now want to show you guys some key updates. So for one, let's take you to there. It's from the Jasmy white paper. So for one, let's pull this up. If you've never seen this, it's crucial that you see it for yourself. Number one, in the white paper on page 328, you see specifically here the introduction of Jasmy's IoT platform. If you're new to it all, it means Internet of Things. And it's what Jasmy states: we aim to realize a data democracy by building a decentralized democratic world where data is protected as inherently owned by each individual. If you think about what we're trying to do with X, especially for the Japanese, and solve a problem there, this all matches up. And more importantly, another thing highlighted from the white paper, page 422, states the challenges for the users. For one, individual users regularly send personal data through smartphones or IoT devices to companies and receive services in return. However, by providing their personal data to companies blindly, the users may feel discomfort as if their behavior is under surveillance, have distrust on the purpose of data usage, and anxiety about infringement of their privacy. At the same time, privacy issues arise as individuals are providing private data to the companies without knowing how such data will be used. That's always crucial. And how about this? A blast to the present. A brand new update from basically what you see here, that is the digital agency. What it mentions specifically is so crucial. The My Number card info, useful information for the private sector. Last updated November 28th, 2025, not that long ago. Specifically mentions, in digital agency, we distribute private sector info to promote initiatives to expand the use of local governments and My Number card. What's new? Well, in November 28th, 2025 issue, the following materials were posted. And it mentions Volume 113, Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance Company, limited introduction of Japanese public key infrastructure, which is the JPKI, and Mina Portals APIs, services for loan examination, application procedures, non-face-to-face transactions. That, of course, is important. Again, why point out any of this? Well, because they highlight specifically on their page this, which links, of course, Cybertrust. And as you see here, they point out this. In Volume 111, JASMY Co. Limited, introduction of the JASMY, or I should say Japanese Public Key Infrastructure, again, the JPKI, and the whole thing of identity verification of personal data management system, JASMY Personal Data Locker. That is so crucial. And right next to it, they point out realizing the provision of a wide range of services, such as local currency, healthcare, and resident services in identity verification, utilizing what? The My Number card. A little bit more about all this. I realize it's all in Japanese, but even in the pamphlet that you see here, constant references to what? JASMY for the personal data locker, JASMY in regards to the JPKI, JASMY when it comes to, again, more documentation about the personal data locker, and numerous information in Japanese highlighting specifically JASMY being part of the mix, which is good. And again, even the orchestration. I don't need to understand Japanese to understand the workflow of this. Even with the barrels, think about that in itself. They say data is the new oil. Well, if anything, capitalizing on that, disrupting the centralized powers of Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and so on by providing a solution that would protect Japanese user data, and if anything, maybe even the whole world moving forward. And you'll also see 2025 JASMY Inc. Take you further down into it, constant references to the PDL, but this area down here also catches my attention. It is JASMY's certifications. ISO, as an International Standards Organization, IEC 27001, and again, ISMS, again, understanding that they are an international standard. Taking you further into this, we did mention specifically Cybertrust, did we not? Well, here's something interesting. Cybertrust for Japan. Cybertrust Japan offers trusted services built on authentication, security technologies it has cultivated since becoming Japan's first commercial certificate authority in 2000. They provide platform services for on-premise cloud-embedded environments. That means leveraging their deep experience, or expertise, I should say, in Linux kernel technologies and open source software. By combining these technologies and our proven track record, we deliver solutions that enhance the trustworthiness of our customer services, ensuring integrity of people, devices, and systems across IoT and other domains. Trust in every person, every device, every service. That is crucial, and you'll find out here soon why Cybertrust is a very, very big deal. Taking you further into this, I want to point out this. This is from their PDF, and if anything, I'll show you the top part of this because this is crucial. This is, for the most part, pretty recent, and it's for the fiscal year 2025, and this section is Q2 financial results, second quarter of the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2026. Again, Cybertrust, again, why point out all this? Well, for one, I want to take you to this key area, and it's right here. Because when you recognize some of these things, it says product name comparison table, the function, the official product names, the abbreviations of the document. But the area of focus is going to be this area of platform services. For one, you see server operating system, cloud infrastructure, integrated monitoring, Linux for IoT, and IoT trust services. So when I talk about things like obviously Quant with the Internet of Trust, keep in mind when it comes to Internet of Things, you have to have that element of trust. Otherwise, you don't have anything that people want to integrate into your system. And as we jump more into this, there's other key discoveries. This time, Masari. Masari recently posted today, December 5th, this whole update of specifically what you see here of the JASMY project update. It says JASMY is developing JASMyNet, a private smart contract-based blockchain to power its Internet of Things platform. JASMY platform. This platform allows users to control access to their data, which is stored in a personal data locker within the platform's distribution file storage system. IoT device owners can decide if and when third-party merchants can access their information. Merchants must specify their intended use of the IoT data, and users can selectively share their data in exchange for JASMY rewards. And again, think about this. Why would you want to update this all of a sudden on December 5th? Well, we'll get more into this because here is another particular update. This time it comes from csa-iot.org/member Cybertrust Japan. And as you see here, Cybertrust Japan is the first commercial certificate authority. Cybertrust Japan provides authentication and security services as well as Linux/OS services for on-premise, cloud, and embedded domains by applying Miracle Linux kernel technology and open source software. Again, back to what you just saw from Masari, this all matches up, especially with what JASMY is looking to do. But in regard to a little bit more about this, it says, if you combine these technologies and deep security expertise, the company also promotes services that support the reliability of customer services by proving the correctness of people, tangible things, and intangible things for IoT and other cutting-edge fields. Cybertrust Japan is committed to realizing a safe and secure society with highly specialized and neutral technologies for IT infrastructure. Even on a basic Google search, if you look up more information about the My Number card, what do we see here specifically? Well, only 3 hours ago, Japan Today had this publication of the My Number ID card holders, how it surpassed 100 million, which represents 80% of the population. Numerous, basically, sites and references have also shared this just a few hours ago. I'm going to take you over to Japan Today specifically. On their publication, a little bit more about what we just mentioned, but I do like the idea that they mentioned that almost 10 years since its launch, the card's adoption rate has increased with government incentives and integration of health insurance card functions. Although its usage rate as a new insurance card remains low and concerns over data security persist, you have to keep in mind, as of Wednesday, the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications reported that a little over 100 million cards had been issued, representing 80.3% of the total population. And here's this quote that's worth sharing. It says, "This is the result of various efforts, such as expanding the convenience of the card," said Internal Affairs Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi. The government began issuing My Number cards in January 2016. But initial uptake was slow due to concerns about personal data leaks. Think about what JASMY offers in regard to this. So if you have a mandate, ladies and gentlemen, think about this. When it comes to this My Number card system, and JASMY literally will protect these leaks, and it's already 100 million users in Japan itself. What about other areas of the world that may implement some of these technologies? Again, it doesn't have to be just the My Number card system. Again, back to what I was just talking about in regard to X. You could clearly understand that Internet of Things will have multiple ecosystems that people simply do not realize. I understand that people want to see JASMY just take off overnight. I am one of them, but we're not at the point yet when it comes to any of this stuff as far as having legal clarity yet. And now we see a lot of new information, news, and so on that says that 2026 could be in regard to the year as far as what? Regulatory clarity. Maybe we do have full-fledged legality of it. I don't know. I'm not fortune teller, but I'm bringing you guys the research that's showing you that there is some key things happening. Cybertrust is a big, big deal, and we'll get more into this here in a bit. Taking you into a little bit more about this on the subject, it says further growth occurred after authorities announced the abolition of traditional health insurance cards and a shift to the My Number-based insurance card. The government has also promoted the card's use across multiple sectors, enabling the online tax filing, certificate issuance at convenience stores, and opening bank accounts. On Tuesday, the system fully transitioned, I'll state it again, fully transitioned to make the My Number insurance card the standard, replacing the old insurance card. Ladies and gentlemen, what is an example that we recently seen that we talk about a lot? What about the whole thing of ISO 222? ISO 222, the whole idea of Swift getting off of MX. and going with what? Or the other way around, excuse me, getting off at MT and going with MX, their own standard they created in 2004. Well, this is another example of a standard and a mandate, and quote, you'll see more terminology of a switch. And we need to please pay attention to that. A little bit more about this. It says by the end of October, about 88% of cardholders had already registered for the insurance function, but only 37.1% were using it. All right. What happens when you have something like Jasmy that would disrupt, again, the leaks? Have a system in place where all that data is protected. There is no hacks. There's no major problems and so on. And if anything, being compliant, an ISO standard, GDPR, MiCA, you name it. All right, check this out. Here's another recent one that I didn't see many people share. This one comes from nippon.com. A lot of Jasmy researchers have shared Nippon, so it's a good source. December 1st, 2025, my number switch. Again, is this the flip of the switch when it comes to Japan? Draw your own conclusion. But former health insurance cards expire, of course, in Japan. And as part of the Japanese government's efforts to encourage the use of my number cards incorporating health insurance information, well, previously standard national health insurance cards expired on December 1st, but the guide explained the situation on what to do and what action is needed. Well, again, basically, here's the highlight for you. To prevent confusion, the government has said that the medical institutions may accept expired health insurance card until March 2026. So again, call it what you want, call it a crazy analogy, but think about with ISO 222, we had a delay. And then if anything, we finally had the whole thing of full implementation of that system. Well, for Japan, the My Number card system, it seems as though that this will be finalized where institutions will have to use this actual card. Everybody in Japan will, right? And again, until March 2026. So they're kicking the can down the road until then. Will they delay it further from there? I don't know, but I thought that was worth sharing with you guys. Now, another key area I do want to jump into for you guys is I want you guys to understand a little bit more of why I share some of these things, especially when it comes to the My Number card. So for one, let's take it with cybertrust.co.jp. This has been interpreted from Japanese to English. So if the font looks kind of like, whoa, I never seen that kind of a font. It looks like something out of a, I don't know, like a magazine. It's because, again, Japanese to English. So for one, Cybertrust posted this. It says Cybertrust I Trust Identity Verification Service. And look what it says here. Boil it, mash it, stick it in stew. And Jasmy's personal data locker, collaborate, support public personal authentication for local currencies and point services. And was this posted 2-3 years ago? No. This was posted just November 16th. Okay. Again, point out the whole thing of specifically 2023, 2025, and so on. Actually, this part is 2023, my bad. But it says over here, here's the one I wanted to point out. This one shares specifically what? The whole thing of what you see in the press release, that Cybertrust supports compliance with international security standards with latest version of EM, Linux embedded Linux operating system, ultra long-term support. So again, back to those things that you saw recently in regard to Jasmy and this whole thing of Linux and the operating systems and so on. And this one was posted November 13th. That part is worth sharing. That part is worth pointing out because you get an idea of why we point out some of these key things. And again, if you think about it, where it says here, legislation is to strengthen the cybersecurity of digital devices being developed by both domestically and internationally to counter the threat of cyber attacks. Targeting what? IoT. All right. Now we are starting to get some. All right. Now here's another discovery. I don't know if a lot of people share this. I want to share this. Going back to Cybertrust, again, we know that they're partners with Jasmy. We see here, specifically speaking, Cybertrust Japan offer trusted services built on authentication and security technologies, and it was cultivated since becoming Japan's first commercial certificate authority back in the year 2000. Mentions the whole thing of Linux kernel technologies and open source software, right? Trust in every person, every device, every service. Okay. Watch this. If you go down to the very, very bottom, a lot of people skip this. Company profile, right? Established June 1st, 2000. What's important is this. Look who are the main shareholders. For one, SB Technology Corp. You may be wondering, who in the world is that? Well, let's address that. And this is a big, big discovery. And they recently posted this November 27th. So very, very recent. And again, 2025, not 2023. It says SB Technology wins Microsoft Japan Partner of the Year 2025 award for the 12th consecutive year in 2 categories. I'm telling you flat out, these guys are a big deal. And like it says, quote, data security and compliance and healthcare and life sciences. This is all matching up. As you also see here, the announcement by Microsoft Japan, headquarters in Minato-ku, Tokyo, referred to as Microsoft Japan, announced that it will provide data security and compliance and healthcare at the Microsoft Japan Partner of the Year 2025. Again, in this announcement, the Microsoft Japan Partner of the Year program is a program that meets once a year for Microsoft Japan to select companies with outstanding achievements in various fields. SBT won the award for the first time in 2012 and has won the award for 12 consecutive years since 2014. So these connections, obviously, to what you saw basically from Cybertrust with Jasmy, I think you get the idea of why we point out some of these things, myself and so on. And how many times have you have seen me cover Microsoft Azure? Look at this. SBT has leveraged Azure OpenAI to develop company-wide generative AI environment and implement file searchable RAGs. If you think about what Jasmy with Janction is looking to do, how many times have you heard specifically Hara talk about literally this right here that I'm highlighting to a T? Last but not least, SBT has been certified as a solution partner in the Solution Partner Certificate Program, again established by Microsoft Japan's Cloud Partner Program. Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program partner has demonstrated high technical capabilities and extensive achievements in all 6 solution fields. And oh, by the way, no big deal, just dust my shoulder off. Among Microsoft solution partners, we have obtained many of the higher certifications, quote, specialization, which has been given to partners with high expertise. Not just low expertise, high expertise. Does this match up with what Janction's doing? You better believe it. Solution partners, business applications, data AI. So look, again, think about what Hara's mentioned with Janction, digital app innovation, infrastructure, modern work security. And again, look more into this for yourself. But again, this is a very, very big deal. Now, we're not quite done yet. You may think we are, but look at this as well. Let's get back into it. So other partners I want to highlight is this other one that you're about to see here, and it's called OBIC, Business Consultants Co. Limited. OBIC Business Consultants Co. Limited develops and manufactures solutions technologies related to products in Japan. The company offers packaged software for accounting, personnel, and payroll, and related peripheral operations. Also provides cloud services. So again, I understand that Zebek has been getting a lot of focus on payroll, and can you blame them? But now we see another example that Jasmy obviously has connection specifically to something big in payroll with specifically Japan. That's a major deal as well. Let's pull up a little bit more about this, and let's take you back over to some other key ones here. We obviously know about Goldman Sachs. Do I need to go into a deep dive about Goldman Sachs? No, I do not. SBI Securities, again, we know how big SBI is, basically speaking. But the other area I want to jump into is what you see here called Secom Co. Limited, and I will take a brief moment to get more into them specifically. So here's their site. This is secom.co.jp, and what you see here is crucial. It says International Security League, a member of International, again, Security League, and they've been around for a while, right, to say the least. And more importantly, I want you guys to understand, like, these guys have connection to land, sea, air, and the virtual aspect of things. But the league engages with key stakeholders around the world in pursuit of their mission to enhance professionalism in the private security industry and improve its readiness to meet the future needs of businesses, governments, and society. So again, think about Society 5.0, what they're looking to accomplish in Japan, specifically with things like Woven City with Toyota, et cetera, et cetera. That's a major thing. Voice of the world's leading security company since 1934. So, I mean, we're talking all the way back to the second Sino War, era, pre-World War II, crazy stuff, right? A little bit more about this. We also saw basically another key one on this list. Let's jump back to it. You see specifically the Bank of New York, right? And we know that the Bank of New York is basically who? Well, let's face it, Bank of New York is BNY Mellon. And again, think about BNY Mellon. You have the ties to Ripple. Do I need to say more? And here's another thing I want to point out, basically, even with a basic raw conversation, what about BNY Mellon to Japan and personal data locker? BNY Mellon maintains significant operation footprint in Japan through entities such as Bank of New York, Tokyo branch. Obviously, they don't have direct ties to something like Jasmy, but again, they have Tokyo branches, and that is important because that shows that they have interest, obviously, in things like personal data and so on. And it even says this. It says these operations focus on custody securities, trust services, investment management, supported by approximately 170 professionals in Tokyo regarding personal data protection. BNY Mellon entities in Japan adhere strictly to the Act of Protection of Personal Information, APPI. So does that not match up with everything you saw in the outline? Absolutely, it does. And here's another thing that's important. This guy is named Kunio Watanabe. He joins BNY Mellon as Japan country executive. The U.S. firm, yes, U.S., taps Nomura for his representative role as Tokyo branch. And of course, this was, I believe, originally shared on May 8th, 2024. Taking more into it, something more recent, as you see here from the Nikkei Asia, America's oldest bank, again, BNY Mellon, looks to Japan amid global uncertainty and reported basically May 1st, 2025, Bank of New York Mellon, BNY Mellon, bolstering its Japan operations, seeking opportunities to make money as the country emerges. Let's face it, it cuts it off on if I click on the thing, but it did mention emerging from where they failed in Web 2 to where they want to be in Web 3. That's a major, major discovery. Glad to share it with you guys. And basically, that's an outline. So, guys, I'm telling you flat out, you see the key players that are partnered with Jasmy. Cybertrust is a major, major big deal. Not just SBI. Some of the other ones I mentioned. Obviously, we know about Goldman Sachs. Obviously, we know about like SBI as an SBI Japan. But again, Goldman Sachs, are you kidding me? BNY Mellon? Come on. We understand the bigger picture. So sometimes you just need to see the bigger players connected to a key partner. And Cybertrust is a major, major deal moving forward. They are, quote unquote, a conglomerate. So do me a solid. If you listen to the entire outline, it gives me great feedback about who's paying attention and who isn't. And just simply type in this keyword of conglomerate into the comments, and I'll know that you listened to the entire outline. Saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. May the Lord Jesus bless you all. I truly mean that. We'll see you on the next one. Over and out.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Yeah.
I have many friends that are earning every single day trading futures on BTCC. It's a simple process, and even if you don't want to learn how to trade, you could follow a trader on the site and let him do the trading for you. And again, I'm not trying to have any of you guys use your hard-earned money to lose anything. You don't know what you're doing? Don't jump into this, but there is money to be made, and don't use your nest egg for leverage trading. Use a separate portfolio. But I suggest learn how to trade. Earn you some extra money on BTCC. It's easy. You don't have to KYC, and you don't have to use a virtual private network VPN. This is a wonderful site. They've been around since 2011. Give them a shot. Also, when you earn that extra money, you can store that on your Decent wallet. The Decent wallet was not affected by the XRPL debacle, where the backdoor of many wallets was open and there was a breach. So Decent wallet was not affected by that. Decent wallet is as safe as you keep your seed phrase. It's a wonderful product, and you can get the discount by using the link. It's the only way to get the affiliate discount, and that is to use an affiliate link. So that link is popping up on the upper right side of your screen, and it is the one that you will use. You will also get free shipping. Pick you up a Decent wallet today. Secure your assets. If you don't have them stored in a wallet and sitting on an exchange, then you're at risk. So pick you one up today. Thank you.